Hello everyone, I am Piyush Goyal and I welcome you to Voxcel's YouTube channel. And in this video we will discuss true false not given. So this is another video in this particular series and we will see how to solve this type of questions. So let's begin. So first we will read the title of the passage, the pyramid building. So as from the title we can understand that this particular reading could be about how pyramids were built, who built the pyramids, when they were built, things like that. Maybe it is not about that, maybe it is something about the pyramids that I am not able to think of right now. But what the benefit of this is that when we activate our mind like this, we activate the vocabulary regarding the topic. So when we read the synonyms of the questions or the paragraphing of the questions, we can easily identify them without having to worry too much. So after reading the title, we will read the first question. So we have questions 1 to 7. Okay, and let me do that. We have questions 1 to 7 and we have to write true, false and not given. So first question, the wheel was invented during the pyramid age even though it was not used. So in this particular question we have to find whether the wheel was invented during the pyramid age or not, and we know this particular information is that it was not used. We were not, or people were not using the wheel. That is like the factual statement of this particular question, but we have to find whether it is true, false, not given is that whether the wheel was invented during the pyramid age. So if the wheel was invented during the pyramid age and it was not used, we will say it's true. But if the wheel was not invented during the pyramid age, it was inventing like before the pyramid age or after, obviously after the pyramid age or thing like that, we will say false. But if we don't have any information when the wheel was invented, during or before the pyramid age, we will say not given. Okay, let's see in the paragraph. The pyramid blocks were hewn from quarries using the stone and copper tools. So how they were built, it is written here. The blocks were transported to the pyramid site from remote quarries using the barges from the local quarries using wooden sleds. The Egyptians did not use the wheel during the pyramid. So here is our first, like you can say, keyword. So because we want to find something about the wheel. Okay, let's see. The Egyptians did not use the wheel during the pyramid age, an invention that would have been of limited use on softer ground under heavy loads. So we know that is for sure that Egyptians did not use wheel during the pyramid age. This is like we are 100% sure about that. But here it is written an invention that would have been of limited use. But when this invention was created or when this product was invented, we don't know about that. We just know that Egyptians did not use the wheel. But whether they invented that particular invention, meaning to say whether they invented the wheel and did not use it, or whether the wheel was invented before them by some other civilization and they didn't use this particular invention because their grounds were very soft. So for this question we will say our answer is not given. Next question, sleds were dragged by animals, not humans. So sleds, basically they are wooden things or wooden material, made of wooden material, and question are saying they were dragged, meaning to say pulled by animals. Okay, not humans. So this is important. They were pulled by animals. Maybe they, in the question they might have written the name of the animals, because in the like olden years, cows, buffaloes, oxen, they were used to pull these kind of carts or bullock carts or things like that. Let's see. So when the answer will be true, when they were pulled by animals and not humans. When the answer will be false, when the sleds were dragged by humans and not animals, or they were dragged by both, like humans and animals alike. When the answer will be not given, when we don't know who were used to pull these kind of wooden sleds. The sleds, so here is our keyword, were dragged manually. So they were dragged, but they were dragged manually. Manually means by humans, manual, by using manual power, manpower, sometimes with the help of beasts of burden over smoothed roads, and sometimes we used beast, but they were also dragged manually. And they were saying slags were dragged by animals, not humans. They were using both to drag this lag. So we will say the answer to this question is false. Moving on to the next one. It is possible that ancient Egyptians could have lubricated their roads to aid transportation. So the question is saying, when the answer will be true, when it is possible that ancient Egyptians could have, meaning to say we are not sure they have done this, but they could have done this. What they could have done? Lubricated their roads, okay, so as to help in transportation, meaning to say they were trying to move sleds, so they lubricated by using oil or any other lubricant, so that it is easier to pull these kinds of things. So the answer will be true when yes, something was used to lubricate the roads. When the answer will be false, when the roads were not lubricated. When the answer will be not given, when we don't have any information whether the roads were lubricated or whether the roads were not lubricated. Okay, we'll move forward. Some of the existing pathways were equipped with the transverse wooden beams to lend support to this sled. A lubricant, here is our keyword, lubricant may have been poured upon the road to reduce friction. So here you can easily deduce that if you want to reduce friction, meaning to say if you want to help in transportation, they may have poured something on the road. What they have poured, we don't have to concern ourselves with that, because question is not asking it is possible that ancient Egyptian could have used oil to lubricate their roads. No, the question is just saying that they could have lubricated their roads, but with what? The question is not concerned with that, so we will not worry about that. So yes, lubricant may have been poured to reduce friction, meaning to say to help with transportation. So the answer to this will be true. Next, the the building work of the ancient Egyptians is unrivaled, meaning to say the buildings they built, who built, ancient Egyptians, is unrivaled. Unrivaled means they didn't, and nobody came close to them, like nobody was anywhere near to them in the process of making buildings, or they built so marvelous buildings, so nobody was able to make anywhere anything resemblance to that, anywhere close to that. Egyptians successfully completed the most massive building projects in all of history. So here they have said the most massive building the most massive building projects in all of history. So the most, basically it's a superlative, meaning to say it is on the top in all of history, so meaning to say nobody was even close to them. So unrivaled, the thing that doesn't have any rivals, yes. So most, meaning to say nobody was close to that. Fifth, some people believe that magic may have been used by ancient Egyptians. So some people believe that magic may have been used by ancient Egyptians. So to make something, magic may have been used. Let's see. There is nothing magical or supernatural in the means by which they achieved their goals, as is commonly thought. So This is quite an interesting question. So before I tell you the answer and why that is the answer, you can pause the video, or you should mark the answer. Why do you think it is true, false, or not given? Okay, what most students will do is they will say there is nothing magical or supernatural. Okay, they will say the answer is false, but I will mark the answer first here. Answer to this question will be true. Now many of you will get confused how it can be true, because they say magic may have been used, but it is written clearly there is nothing magical. But these words are the most important in your context here. So what the statement is saying, there is nothing magical or supernatural in the means by which they achieved their goals. But what people thought, as is commonly thought, meaning to say people thought there was some magic involved, but there wasn't any magic involved. So as is commonly thought means people were thinking opposite to that. So that's why it will be true. Moving forward, sixth question. Limited technology limited the construction of ancient Egyptians from 4th dynasty. So here the question is saying, because of limited technology, let me change it. Because of limited technology, it limited the construction. So the construction of the pyramids or the construction of some other buildings of that era of ancient Egyptians from 4th dynasty, like it became limited. Like just say they were building, like for example 10 pyramids a year, but after or from the 4th dynasty, because of limited technology, they were making fewer pyramids than that. So this is something in the question that has been written. So let's see what is written in the question, in the paragraph. Okay, so we will do, what we will do is we will read from the we will read ahead. By all indicators, they retained their knowledge of construction throughout their history, but they were limited after the 4th dynasty. So there is something about the limitation, not by the lack of technology, but rather by the lack of abundant resources that were previously available. So they were limited after 4th dynasty, but not because of technology, but because of lack of abundant resources. But question is saying, from the 4th dynasty onwards, they were limited because of limited technology, but no, they were limited because of lack of resources. So our answer to this question should be or will be false. Next question, last one. The Romans learned the techniques of moving huge stones from the ancient Egyptians. So they are saying Romans learned from ancient Egyptians. What they learned? Moving huge stones. So whenever answer will be true, yes, when the Romans learned how to move big stones or huge stones from ancient Egyptians. Whenever answer will be false, when Romans learned from somewhere else, not from ancient Egyptians. Whenever answer will be not given, when we don't know whether they learned from whether they learned how to move huge stones from ancient Egyptians, or whether they learned from somewhere else. So moving to the paragraph, more than 2000 years later, the Romans, so here is our keyword, Romans, would move huge stones. So they also moved huge stones, some weighing nearly 1000 tons, using same techniques at Baalbek. So they were using same techniques at Baalbek. Okay, so Baalbek meaning to say Egyptian. So that I am just seeing if there is written anything about Baalbek, but Baalbek just meaning to say Egyptians. So they were moving huge stones using similar techniques, but there is no mention of learning or teaching here. So we cannot say that Romans learned from ancient Egyptians or ancient Egyptians taught Romans. There is no such mention about that. So what we will say answer to this question is not given. So first we will check our answers. Not given, false, true, 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 false, not given. Not given, false, true, 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 false, not given. So this is how you should solve your answers. One more thing, what most students will do is like they will see 1 2 3 true in a row, and they will think like this cannot be accurate, I must have made some mistake, and they will change one answer to false or not given. So you should be very confident in yourself that if you think these three answers can be true in a row, or three answers can be false in a row, or these three are not given in a row, so you should have confidence. And how you can build that confidence? By practicing and by like being accurate. So the more accurate you are every time, the more confident you will be. So I hope it is clear how to solve these kind of questions. So if you want our help, I'm gonna leave the link to our website in the description. You can click in that particular link in the description, and you can contact us. We will be happy to help you, whether you want our help in reading, writing, listening, or speaking. We have helped like a lot of students to get E7 in writing and speaking. We can also help you, and you can achieve your dreams. And I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.